special guest today. This is our 2017 WSOP main event champ, Scott Blumstein. How's it going?
Not bad, Jamie. How about yourself?
Not bad. Thanks for taking the time out and walking all the way across the hallway today.
Yeah.
Scott's one of my housemates, to do this pod and tell us about a punt that went right.
Yeah. Sometimes it works out.
Yeah.
Trying to give away all your chips works out. So
set the scene for us.
Yeah. So 3 left in the WSP main event. I got dealt King 10 offsuit, which is pretty good hand. Not great, but the button Dan Ott opens to a normal 2x, and I am in the small blind and decide to 3-bet him this time, and he calls, and the flop comes ace 3-4 all clubs. I have the king of clubs, so. I don't know. I just decided that I was going to do something crazy and just probably not stop betting at any point in this hand. hopefully hit a club, right? I did have 9 outs.
That's plan
A.
To
just, to, then be value betting, which is fun. And then, but the turn was like a brick 9. And, I was like just going to try to get him to fold an ace, and try to say I had a flush, which is not easy to have, but certainly possible. And, blocking the king of clubs, he can't have the nuts, which, you can always rationalize doing anything. And that's where I started. And then, so then the turn, I just barreled off. I did like my sizing that I bet, what was it, 20 million on the turn. It was like 16 million on the flop, then like 20 into 80 on the turn, I think.
Just making it look like you're going for value.
Yeah, just setting up a decent sized shove, right? Just like trying to straight. If I did have a flush, I would want him to call. So I bet small, and then the river was a brick too. Now there's like a wheel on the wheel outs. I could have like a ace X and make a straight, and maybe now. So I just went all in, and thankfully, I think like the most important part of the hand is he did have like close to the bottom of his range, right?
He had pocket eights.
Pocket eights
with the club, right?
With the 8 of club, yeah. So
How much was the shove for in the river?
About 80 million into like 100, I think.
Seems like real numbers of chips you could have in a tournament.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So, all 80 million was at risk. I still would have had 40 million at 2 million big blinds. So 20 big blinds about, I think that's right. So I knew I wasn't out for sure. But that day it started, not great, and just like decided to just go for it. And if you get, I don't know. It's the game. Just gotta,
I wanted to mention to you, this is my favorite part of the story because we're obviously on the rail just going nuts. I don't know what you have. I'm hoping it's for value, but you can barely see anything. We're looking at like basically the little Jumbotron-esque thing they have up there, and I'm like looking at the board, and I'm like, okay, there's like a lot of good hands Scott could have here. I'm like, through about the small blind. He could have a strong ace here and be going for like max value if he has a read on Ott. I was like, he could definitely have flopped a flush. I was like, that you're sizing to on the turn. I'm like, he could be going for value. But I also was like, oh no. You're just, when you're friends on the rail, you're just rooting for him to get through. I'm like, I don't know if this is for value, but like Scott's a bluffy gentleman. And
if he folds, he for sure wins.
I'm like, please fold.
Right.
So the dealer, Heather Alcorn, who plays a decent amount of poker, came over to the rail because she was switching with the other dealer. She comes over, she goes, let me know what Scott had there when you find out. I think he was bluffing. So she would have snapped your ass right off.
She knew.
Good read, yeah. She won a
circuit main event.
Yeah. She knows that's
nice.
awesome.
I think it was like for $150K.
Yeah, good thing she wasn't at the table. I know.
Yeah.
But no, that's a tough spot for Dan. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I mean, I knew we were both like 26-year-old kids that had like not much business being there in the first place, and at that point, that's what I'm saying. It's tough. It was tough for all of us. So I just decided I'd rather be the one putting the other person to some crazy decision than having to be the one to make it yourself. So,
do you often write him on Twitter and just say King 10?
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
haunt him.
No, I don't take that approach. We've seen each other a couple of times at like charity events and stuff since then. He's a really good guy, and I mean, I think he, first of all, he did all right for himself, financially, and I think this is like common knowledge, but I think he had a pretty good amount of himself. So,
he satellited in, right? And I think
Wow.
he's kept a lot.
Satty in. He basically sat in. It wasn't like a traditional satty, I don't think.
He just had a good summer and
I
then
think
said,
he just
like,
got
fuck it.
$10,000 and
Okay.
was like, yeah, which is
Fuck it.
Yeah, basically, and it worked out. I'll give him that.
I have to have him on and be like, you tried to punt 10K and they just gave you millions of dollars. How did that go?
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So that's he should be the next guest, I think.
How did your main event go overall? Were you just on a super heater, or what was that experience like?
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely like it's so long that you just are just like happy to still be in it at every point, I think, and you just kind of the one thing that I did a good job of was like I got some chips at the end of day 2 in like a pretty lucky fashion. It was like it's like a hand that can go either way, and probably could have folded free, but so I won a big pot at the end of day 2 and started out, and I just feel like I did a good job of like slowly working my way through the tournament, like not trying, because when you get a lot, I just did a good job of like protecting it and just like a good job of just slowly grinding up and
Nice.
and then day 7 was when I started to
Yeah.
punt off a bunch of times. So day 6 and day 7, but yeah, it was cool. Like I wasn't under like 20 big blinds at all the whole tournament until
Wow.
day 6, and then even then I double quickly got back and then didn't really look back. So it's definitely like a fun tournament because you're just so deep,
Yeah.
It's like, so you just play cards.
You wake up and you're there
Yeah, that's
with
it.
King 10, and you're
Something,
like,
Same time.
something pretty cool that I don't know if a lot of people know is that you worked with Elliott Row, who's associated with Run It Once now. He has
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
A-game masterclass
Yeah.
that he's selling through Run It Once. I contacted Elliott Row. I was kind of helping Scott keep it together a little bit because you were a little bit like, oh my God, like every day he'd come home and just be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my
Yeah.
God. Because it's just the hands are running through your head and you're like,
Yeah.
the
Oh, God,
enormity
I
of the
can
situation
imagine.
is just like very much in the forefront of your brain.
Yeah.
It was definitely nice having you guys around, and you were certainly
Dude, it was fun.
very
That was like
helpful,
the
so.
most fun experience. But having
Yeah.
Elliott Row too, it would be so funny because Scott would get up and be like, and then he'd talk to Elliott and he'd come down the stairs. He's like,
Elliott was on the rail.
Elliott was on the rail, and Elliott talked to him
Nice.
on Skype the last
Yeah.
few days,
Yeah.
and he would just come down the stairs as like a different human being. And I'm like, I gotta talk to that dude because it was just like you were a mess, and then you'd come down ready to like kick someone's ass. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
just,
think that's the kind of the point. You gotta, your brain's moving at 1,000 miles an hour. I think just relaxing and just like taking a deep breath and have his voice alone is just gonna make you feel
What
better.
kind of stuff
So-
did he tell you that helped?
That's what I'm saying. It was more just like visualization stuff and just
Is it hypnotherapy at all?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did hypno right off the bat, and hypno. Yeah, I still have used Elliott in the past since, and he's a good buddy of mine, and yeah, I just think it's like a good anytime you can relax and do some like self-reflecting and just try to stay in the moment. Definitely helped.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? I know this is a little off topic from just poker strat and punting, but right after the main, you got yourself together and got a lot healthier
Yeah.
and changed a lot of habits. Do you have
Yeah.
any tips, or do you want to just talk about that?
Yeah. I was right before I left for Vegas to play the main event. I for the first time was like really felt like I was doing good with trying to get lose weight. So I was down like 25 pounds right before I left, which wasn't a lot for even me at the time, and just not even a lot in general, but just I think it was good that I was moving in the right direction.
That's like half of Marley's body weight.
I know.
I know.
He's like, it's not a lot. I'm just looking at him like,
I think
Yeah.
I'm down. I think I'm down.
think
to
Marley would die,
right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Yeah, but yeah, for me it wasn't. And then yeah, so then after I won, I went through like a little bit of a celebratory period, you can call it, where I was no longer focusing on that aspect, but always, knowing that I guess I was gonna wait for the right time and then attack it. And then so I won in August of end of July. Was it July? I don't know. July or August.
Yeah.
July.
2017.
Yeah.
And then January of 2018 was when I started. I moved to San Diego, and moved in with a buddy I went to high school with, who was just there to kind of like coach me and got the ball rolling. And then about, let's call it, 8 months to a year later, I had done some damage. So
Nice. I feel like San Diego, you have to just be, you have to eat like, an acai bowl for breakfast. It's like a mandatory thing.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh man, I really went off last night. I ate a whole avocado. Oh, I'm so hungover.
Kinda, you would think, but unfortunately I moved into like this place called Pacific Beach. Are you familiar with San Diego? So Pacific Beach is like this poppin' part of town. It's fun. It's like a lot of nightlife and good food, and like I didn't really know what I was signing up for. I thought I was going like to the San Diego you were talking about, and then I was like living behind an ice cream shop, and it wasn't quite the case. And then but yeah, I think it was even good like having to kind of play it on hard at first. That kind of gets you no excuses when you're doing that. But yeah, it wasn't ideal for the life I was like. I kind of want to go back now and live there. But not at the time.
Earmuffs for John. He
you
doesn't want you to leave. Are you kidding me?
No, I'll bring you. I'll bring you to Pacific Beach. Trust me, you'll love it down there.
Yeah. So what are you up to these days? How much poker do you play?
Not a ton of poker, to be honest. I played the World Series a little bit. I just went back home to Borgata, Atlantic City, and played the main event there. But yeah, poker's not really my full-time focus. I'm actually like trying to figure out what to do with my life,
nice.
Which is a good problem to have. And but yeah, cards I don't really play too much anymore
because it seems a little stressful. I was just watching from you coming home and being like frustrated that everything you do is being watched now. Like you play the main, and if you're out in day one, people are like, Scott Blumstein, there's going to be a new champion, and he busts on day one, and people are like, how did he bust on day one? I heard he had 80K to start, and it's just like a big deal to someone who got to be slightly anonymous before. I feel like that's pretty tough to play and like have everybody watching your every move.
Yeah, it was definitely different, and but then even the main event the next year actually was like one of the lower moments I probably had since then was busting on day one. Like I was excited. They had me running around all over and like doing all this media stuff, and I had to take pictures with Chippy, the mascot. You ever see Chippy? They're literally making me do a photo shoot with this mascot and like an hour before. So yeah, so it was a chaotic day, and then I sat, then I got like a kind of a tougher table with like Lacey Jones and a couple other, and then Brian Yoon, who's world-class player.
He crushes the main every single year, and no one really talks. He somehow is like under the radar until he's on like day 6 again. You're like, what?
He's got to be the most underrated tournament player in the world because it's not. He won the little one for one drop, and he's definitely highly underrated. So yeah, we played. We were in a normal table off the stream for like 2 levels, and even that was a little overwhelming. And then they said we were going to move to the secondary feature table or whatever. So we get I'm excited now. I get to tell people to watch, and it's definitely cool playing on stream. That's I think a lot of why we play poker. And then I sit down, and like the second hand off the deck at the feature table, I get 10s under the gun, and he 3-bets like kind of big from middle position, and I called, and the flop was like, I always butcher this, but it was like 3, 4, 5 maybe, or something, like 3, 4, 6, I think 3, 4, 6, let's say, and I checked, he bet, I like, I know he's a good player, so I decided I have an overpair, and I call. and then the turn is like another low card spade. And like this is where I probably should have checked my ego at the door and just like check folded, you know. But like Jamie has already declared, I don't like doing what you're supposed to do in poker. So I called him again, and the river was like a third spade, backdoor spades, got in another low card. And I checked, and he shoved, and I'm like, you know, just like every poker player, like he's got ace king. So so I sat there. I was like nervous and everything, and I thought he like. I kind of leveled myself thinking that similar thing, right? He knows that this table is here partially for me. There's a lot of pressure on me to perform, and everything. And I called, and he had ace jack of spades. So I always joked that if he didn't get there on the river,
you would have looked like a hero.
Exactly.
Yeah, damn it.
That's poker, right? I guess.
Hey, listen, one day your ship will come in, Scott. I really think if you keep trying.
You know, that's what I'm saying. I know. Look, that's why I don't play cards anymore. Because if you're going to be like that, why would I play? You know. So, but it's interesting, and it was tough because you know you just bust and. It was a tough day. Thankfully, Elliott was there. He actually helped me out that day. I hysterically called him and was like, "What just happened to me?"
Oh,
because there's another layer to it. Like when people are paying attention to you, you don't just go wallow having lost your money, or you don't just have to go tell a backer, "Hey, it didn't go well. This is what happened." You have so many people who want to bring you down because they're jealous of you, and they're like, "Oh, the kid who won last year, like he didn't deserve it. Look at this hand history." Yeah. And they all want to trash you. And there's another layer of pain that you suffer when that happens.
Yeah. And it's weird. It wasn't even like, I swear I didn't really care a lot about that. I think it was more just disappointment. I don't know. It was, I'm sure it's something to do with it. But then like on Twitter later that day, someone like said something along those lines, and I just like responded, and it was pretty good. We got like 1,100 likes or something. So that was cool. That was like to turn the day around.
That's so much better than winning the main.
Honestly, right? I mean, it's for some people. I feel like that's But
like one day I'm like, hey, where do I turn these little hearts in for like goods and services? You know, like I've been collecting them.
I was like, wow, this Jamie feels this every day. Like that's wild. You guys, that's what I'm saying. That's normal for you guys. I'm just like, all right.
You're like, all I have is like all these dollars. Like, what are these good for?
Yeah. Well, there's but it's happy. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's another podcast. let's talk more about poker.
So just for a couple minutes, just tell us like what your plans are going forward. If you have any cool stuff you want to promote, go for it.
I don't have anything to shill right yet. I'm working on it. I have a feeling within the next 6 months to a year, if we do this again, I'll have something to promote. But right now, I'm just still trying to work on myself and just...
That's pretty noble. I feel like a lot of people, especially when they have big scores, obviously they dive deeper into poker, they play bigger, they fire hard and even stake people, whatever. Right. And it's actually pretty noble to step away and do that. It's for me, I find it so easy to just sit down at a poker table and be like, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna go play, or just go fire, and to sit with yourself and actually think about what you really want to do. And
it's
that's cool.
I didn't know. It's what I'm saying. I feel like I just feel like that's just where I'm at. I don't know how or why, but I'm trying to. I just know I don't want to play cards anymore. I mean, realistically, that's the thing, right? Moving up in stakes is like the obvious option.
Except when you win like 8 million, you're like, what higher stakes? Like, you kind of did the thing everyone wants to do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Poker, it's a hard game. It's tough to succeed in, and I feel like I don't really feel like trying. So.
Yeah, you should just get a dog. That's what I've been trying to do.
I know. You just want me to buy $8 million worth of dogs, Jamie. I get it. We know. All right. Well, that's what I've. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if Scott should get a dog.
Maybe that. Yeah. Let's focus on me and the dog instead of. I'll take the heat this time.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for being our first live guest that's not a canine. We appreciate you.
Yes.
No problem. Glad to help you. Keep. Phil's a buddy of mine, and I like what he's doing over at One-on-Ones, and this is a pretty cool podcast, and you guys are gonna kill it. So just keep doing it.
Thanks.
This seems like a good time to reach out to our sponsors and thank them for their support. Thank you to Run It Once Poker, the new fun place to play online. Unfortunately, you cannot play in the United States, which we are now. But if you are in Europe and outside the United States, check it out. They've got some amazing promotions and games going on.
Yeah, you can sign up through once.run/play and receive a 100% deposit bonus up to €600. And with the 51% rake they give in their reward system, Splash the Pot, you get a little bit of gamble with your rake back. It's always fun. And if you are in the US and the rest of the world, you can still check out Run It Once Training. Best place to learn from poker players much better than us. Just go to once.run/learn. You get 3 free elite videos just for checking it out.
All right, so I spent some time in LA and Sacramento recently playing some poker on live streams, in back rooms, all around. And yeah, every time I go to LA and California in general, I'm kind of blown away at just how awesome the games are, how good they treat the players, and not that it's bad in Vegas, but it's just so great over there. I thought about moving there many times. It's awesome.
It's going to be hard to do the pod. You'll have to fly in every week.
I know. I might just start phoning it in.
Yeah. What rooms did you play in this time?
The Bike, one of my favorite rooms in LA, and then Stone's Live in Sacramento, and the Commerce a little bit. But
oh, I saw in your vlog your Commerce comment, and I liked it very much because it's kind of a sweatshop.
Oh yeah, Commerce is great. I mean, and honestly, I don't mind giving them shit because they're making so much money. They're making so much money, and
they're the biggest poker room in the world.
Yeah,
yeah,
and they've got a huge pit too. Like they're just cranking out the bucks there, and those seat cushions probably have mold in them. So if you're watching Commerce, please some new seat cushions. That's my one request.
Yeah,
a couple of those baccarat dollars. But no, but I will say the games at Commerce are great, and that's kind of how I think that they. I don't want to say get away with it, but the games are great. I don't know if you ever played there.
That is how they get away with it. That's the kind of thing, like, if there's no action in your room, you need to have comfortable chairs, you need to give watermelon juice, and have good food delivered directly to my face, and I'll still go, even though the games are not good. If you give me a lot of action, if the games are amazing, you could have moldy chairs. It's fine. The room could be 95 degrees, also fine. Poker players will still go there. But yeah, so you said the action is good enough to make up for the fact that it's not the nicest room?
I think so. I think in LA in general, because the rake is so high, not that there's many women, but the actual rake, but it's so insanely high that I think, in my opinion, you should probably be playing 5-10 or bigger, just because it has, I don't think that it's beatable to play 1-3 in it, just my opinion, just because of the rake alone. And the buy-ins are so low, so you can't even really buy in deep. But, that kind of definitely makes up for it. There's pros and cons, but the games themselves are just better, more action, and the people in general are just more enjoyable, fun to play with.
It's more of a social game there?
I think so. And especially the streams, Live at the Bike especially.
It's fun to watch.
People just come out of the woodwork for that game. Honestly, every time I play, this like some random celebrity or producer or whatever, some businessman or whatever who's just coming in on a Tuesday to sit in a casual 5, 10, 20 game. So
I saw on your vlog, and I didn't get to watch the whole thing, where you said Squints was playing. Is that actually true?
Yeah.
Squints Palladores from Sandlot?
Yeah.
How do I get in that game? I would just quote Sandlot and annoy the fuck out of him the whole time. He probably hears it his whole entire life.
He's a really nice guy. His name is Chauncey also in real life.
Oh, wow.
And my cat's name, for those of you who don't follow me on my vlog. My vlog, by the way, small shameless plug to my YouTube vlog if you want to check that out. But he's great. He actually just did that Logic Eminem video where, I don't know if you saw it, but Chris D'Elia was in it too, who I'm not in love with, but I love his work.
Well, just tell Berkey not to listen to this one. You are definitely in love with Chris D'Elia. You bring him up in every conversation that we ever had.
I know. No, I honestly don't. I just like, his. I actually had like a conversation with him on Instagram, and I was very professional. Because that's what that's all I want, professional
interactions.
That's
like when I describe you to people, I'm like, oh, Marle, the very professional girl.
I know, it's not my most redeeming. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. A few less F-bombs and I'm there. By the way, did you see that Doyle did not like the F-bombs in Billions?
Yes, and it's funny because Doyle puts up with a lot of terrible things. Like I won't get political on this on our little pod.
Yeah.
But he puts up with a lot of behavior from certain politicians, but he doesn't like cursing.
For those of you who don't know, Doyle Brunson, of course, wrote on Twitter that he did not like the swearing in the very popular show Billions, written by Brian Koppelman, who wrote Rounders. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. That's his pet peeve.
It's really funny too because poker used to be, we talked about before, like the Wild West.
Yeah.
And anything goes. People used to get shot over deaths in poker. But apparently cursing is what takes it too far.
Everyone has their things.
Murder, fine.
Yeah.
The F-bombs, not fine.
Not fine for Doyle.
Yeah.
That was a tangent. But back to LA poker. LA poker is street poker. I learned very quickly my first time going to LA and playing on Live at the Bike on stream. I played pretty conservatively. I think it was like a 1-3 or 2-5 game. And typically in those stakes games, you don't see a lot of 4-5 betting without aces or kings. You don't see many river races as bluffs. And so I was playing pretty snug and getting bluffed like left and right in like the most obscene spots.
People on streams.
The streams do it, especially in LA though. I mean, especially in that show, people just play crazy. Mm-hmm. And I like that about poker. Like some people like playing against opponents who just, they can push around and whatever. But I like kind of when people are, I don't know, mixing it up and doing crazy things, and it's just more enjoyable. And even if I get bluffed, I feel like it's more fun. So
I agree. I think you'll have more interesting hand histories. Also, if you keep playing on Live at the Bike or you like repeat on certain streams, you'll start having some history with these people, and then you're like, oh, it's the guy that bluffed me like 4 times and showed it. So then now you're going to be playing like 500 big blind pots with one pair. It's going to be fun.
That's another thing I like too, is I love poker gets really fun when you get history with people because it's so meta at that point. Like, and at that point, these hand histories are useless. I can't tell you a hand history about someone I've played 1,000 hours with because you're going to be like, but wait, you did what? And I'm like, but
it's like,
you just don't know.
This is what I like too, is then the people who are really good at poker are like, listen, if you put this through a solver, it's going to tell you this. And I'm like, listen, I have history with this guy. So I just decided to make this low frequency play. Yeah. You just say words like that and they're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's about how
really,
you word
I'm just
it.
like, I punted $2,000, but I made it sound good.
Yeah, and I kind of love those dynamics. Streaming in general I've been playing more and more on it, and it's something that it's a whole other beast. There's tournaments, there's cash, and then there's streams, and people are their alter ego on streams, including myself. And something worse than playing on stream and being card dead and feeling that pressure of like, I'd almost rather, I don't want to run bad, but I'd rather get hands and have to make good hero folds.
Because I think sometimes it's confirming people's bias against girls already in poker, where they're like, oh, they're so tight. Like, I've definitely had that happen where a whole stream, it's not a lot of hands. You're not seeing, you might be seeing 100 hands or something like that. And they'll just be like, oh my God, that girl didn't play any hands. And I'm like, can we just go through the hands I've been dealt?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I have 9-4 off. I'm not going to just play to be like, I haven't played a hand in a while. Think I should just play this hand. Don't feel like that. That's why some of those games, like when we played Run It Up live, we made the skinny, the 3-deuce suited, a bounty. And it's like, all right, so we have like a 7-deuce bounty, a 3-deuce suited bounty. We're doing flips. It's like, even if you're card dead, you're going to find somewhere to get in money and gamble. Yeah. Makes it a little more fun.
For sure. I just feel like, thank God, the last 5 or 6 streams I've played on, I've ran pretty good, and I just picked up a lot of hands. I've definitely lost some of those hands, but I just was in a lot of pots. But I definitely just feel, every time I play instrument, like 3 orbits in, if I just haven't been playing hands, I get this like pressure. I feel it in my body. Or I'm like,
feel like you have to be entertaining.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like I can't just chill. But thank God I've been running pretty good on stream. So that always helps. But yeah, I think there's like definitely an expense with going to LA. Of course, you have to, pay for hotel and flights and
you have to
all that.
Be in LA.
Just being there, just the aggravation of
that's like an expense on your soul.
I know. Like. There's the ride from the airport alone.
That was my first introduction to LA. I could not believe it. I flew into LAX and I was going to Gardens Casino, and I took an $80 Uber ride because of how long the traffic was. I think it was only a few miles.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there. And when I finally got there, I'm like taking a nap. I finally get there. I'm going like 3 miles an hour the whole time. And I just look and it was $80. Like, what? And
That's
that was like, this
nuts.
is LA. And I'm like, how are you guys living here? And my friends who live there love it. They said the food is great. There's so much to do.
Yeah.
The action is great in poker. But I'm like, oh, just the traffic component alone.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah, that's why I've kind of decided against it. At this point, I feel like I think I will end up in California at some point, but it's going to have to be when I'm just too much money, like, you know, Scott Blumstein.
You got
our
Blumstein
guest.
dollars. You're like, I'm tired of playing poker. I've won too much.
Yes, exactly. Then I'll go to LA and be like, whatever, you know, it's just one three bet. But it was a very good trip for me. So, yeah, I played in some all different stakes too. I started off the first day playing in 5-5, then 10-20, and played some 1-3 too. So all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I came back to Vegas and games are a lot tougher and a lot slower.
A lot tighter.
A lot tighter.
A little grumpier.
Yeah. But it's fine. It's always nice to kind of play in the Vegas games because I think it just makes you better. You know, when you play against tough opponents, makes you better. Not that they're tough,
Makes
but
me broker. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I get better. I just lose more.
who were we talking
me.
to? Oh, I was just listening to somebody. Was it Kruk saying that the best way to get better is to? Oh no! It was Scott Seaver on Joey's podcast. So that like he always just like purposely played in the toughest games because he's like that's just the best way to get better. And then Joey was like, or be broke immediately. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but like whatever, just reload.
Yeah.
Like-
Also, it's kind of funny. Like, if I was the best at the game that I was talking about, I'd be like, guys, the best way to get better is to play me. Just letting you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I see you, Seaver.
Yeah. So challenge me to heads up.
Yeah. So you wound up your trip at Stones. Was that
Yeah.
the first time you played at Stones?
First time at Stones. It's a really beautiful, it's actually called a card room, even though they do have a small pit area, but it's really nice. Kind of the opposite of Commerce. But they
For Commerce. We're like anti-sponsored at this point. We like owe Commerce money for doing this pod. Sorry.
I want to put it out there. I don't hate Commerce. I just want some new seat cushions. That's all I want. And I would like maybe the carpet not to be like gross.
What if they just like issue each patron a Purell bottle as they walk in?
That's a good start.
Okay.
That's a good start. But as long as the games are good, I'm still going to go and risk, you know, getting robbed too.
Whatever, and like some hepatitis and whatever
Yeah.
else. Tetanus? Is that what I mean? I don't know. Something gross.
I'll get a shot. And yeah, the first night, there was a bigger game. I think it was 25-50, and there was like a list for it. But I got in towards the end and played for like 30 minutes on that game, and then just played some 5-10 off stream. And then I played in like a 2-3-6 game, which is like every game is match stacked there too, which is really great. So it just gets super deep. And the 2-3-6 game, even though it sounds like a smaller game, everyone had at least, you know, 1,500 2K in front of them and was playing, you know, crazy. And I ran pretty good. And ended up having a good trip there too. And it was just an enjoyable experience all around.